Hey guys, welcome back for another interview with the Powerful Medical Intuitive. I'm just waiting for Louisa, and I'm running behind because the last interview took a bit longer than we expected. So let's see. So until Louisa pops up, oh, I'm going to take this opportunity to tell you that today is a very, very special day because today is the day that my incredible, beautiful medical intuitives graduate. Today is the day that they are flying solo and that they are unleashed into the world to radically transform the medical system and their communities and make a huge, awesome impact on humanity and awaken these powerful healing gifts in their own communities all over the world. And if you're like me and you have communities of your own and you're a leader and a teacher and you do all the creating of courses, etc., you can get so caught up in the busyness and in the hustle and in the cycle that you forget to celebrate, you forget to appreciate um, everything that you've been blessed with the students, with the teachings, with the journey. And I'm definitely still working on validating praise and receiving, but I really thought, screw it. I'm just going to tell you, I have an extra few minutes before Louisa comes on, and I'm just going to be real and tell you that this was so much hard work and it was such a powerful transformation, and that it was working with these incredible women that made it worthwhile. But like I just said in the previous interview with Barbara Perez, it was about legacy. It was really about knowing that I needed to share this so that people would have this, so that humanity would have this permanently, and that people would always have help. Even if I wasn't here, humans don't live forever, right? And the only way to make sure that something is available to humanity for a long time is to teach and to share it. And I'm so grateful because so many, at least 40 of the women who came to do the medical intuitive course with me were teachers, were already leaders. It was such an honor to have their energy and their courage and their strength and their vulnerability working with me and turning me into a better person and a better teacher. And gosh, it is so not just vulnerable, but heartbreaking and heart expanding at the same time. So much of being a spiritual healer and a psychic is feeling so alone and like nobody understands your gifts, because it's not like there's a column in high school that says, here's, becoming a psychic or a healer or a spiritual teacher. And you know that you're supposed to do something, but you just don't know what it is, and you don't know how to be guided in those moments. So I just want to take a moment to say thank you to all of you for coming on this journey with me. And I'm just going to stop this stream here with our closing prayer. O Great Spirit, Father Sky, Mother Earth, the winds, the waters, my Father, my Mother, Atanaha, all that is, we thank you for our lives, and we thank you for these good people. We thank you for all that we are and all that we are to become. We dedicate our time spent together and our relationships with one another to you. We ask that our suffering be ended and our pain be lifted to the love and to the peace that lay beyond. Oh, and there is Louisa. So I'll start a brand new stream and let her on.
Hi.
Really gorgeous girl. Sorry I was running late.
No problem at all. I was actually watching the last one, so I was aware. And then it just took me a moment to figure out the tech, but we got it. We're here.
It's a bit weird, and normally we do this on Zoom, but this is just makes it so much simpler to connect, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so Louisa is an incredible healer, and she does work as a medical intuitive. She does work with plants. I'm pretty sure you do work with shamanism as well.
Yeah.
And you've been doing it for a long time, and you're like a force of the divine feminine. So do you want to tell them a little bit about what you do and who you are and where they can find you?
Yeah, absolutely. So, yeah, Louisa Andrea, and as Sky says, I've been working in the realms of, intuitive healing energy healing, using plant medicines and some shamanic practices for a good few years now, maybe creeping up to like 10 years possibly. It's been a while, and I think actually what you just said there really defines me. I think that I'm a very strong channel for the divine feminine. I think that one of the strongest frequencies that I bring into this world and in this time is the frequency of love that comes through the feminine. And this is really what I want to continue bringing into the world in as powerful a way as I possibly can. I run a branded CBD company that's specifically focusing on women and women's issues. And because there's something that I've really, and particularly through working with you in this course, Sky, quite early on, there was a very strong, really affirming, confirming, and realization of just how important it is for women to be well nourished, for us to do that for ourselves and to bring that out into the world. Because actually when we're really flowing from that place of kind of, you know, absolute abundance in health and well-being, it nourishes our community in ways that we don't even realize. The ripple effect is huge. So I think that kind of defines my purpose. And yeah, and I can be found across social media. I do have a website. I'm kind of tweaking that and updating it now because through working through this course, I'm kind of finding new ways to talk about what I do. So yeah, that's me.
Yeah, I mean, working with plants is incredible, and particularly CBD and, you know, mushrooms. They work with the nervous system, I think, on a level that medicine hasn't had access to for a very long time.
Yeah, absolutely. And I kind of see the plants and their what they bring through in terms of the spiritual and the physical physical gifts that they bring. It very much resets us. It reminds us of where we can be. And I think that's their power. So yeah, I like to incorporate and use them for sure. Yeah.
I definitely, and I'm not like I'm the reason I'm saying this is because so many people think it's either or, and this is a harmony. You know, this is a harmony, and it's about following that divine guidance and that intuition.
Yeah.
And so much of the drugs that are available for nervous system are about numbing, you know, dumbing down, instead of about healing and reconnecting and rebalancing.
Yes, absolutely. And I think that's the part about the plant medicines that I really, and like you say, it's not one or the other. I take a very holistic approach to healing. And I think if we have tools that are available to us that we can utilize alongside doing the deeper emotional work, then why not? Why not support ourselves in that way? I think we have a lot available to us actually, and it's about our belief system around it and opening ourselves up. The more ways we can open ourselves up to receiving healing,
the better.
The better. Then we find what is right for us, you know. And for some people, maybe plant medicines and plant it's not for them. Maybe it's not. Maybe it's a different way, but. Yeah, I really like use particularly CBD. I find it quite supportive, and particularly I want to bring that more into kind of the feminine health issues. So that's what I'm developing at the moment, is some products that work specifically for women, utilizing some CBD. So I'm quite excited about that stuff as well. A bit further down the line.
Very exciting.
Yeah.
So what was your favorite part of the medical intuitive course?
So actually, the miracles over medicine technique itself, I think the reason I love that so much is because of the levels of intimacy that you can reach when working with yourself and other people using that. It's such a beautifully, like, you create such a beautifully safe container that it allows for a really much deeper connection. And I really thrive on this ability, the being able to be with somebody and myself in as really deeply intimate as I can be. And your modality absolutely provides that container. So yeah, that part of it for me has been the most beautiful to play with and to practice with and to share already. Yeah, for sure.
Okay, so what was your biggest shift? As you said, you're changing how you teach, you're changing how you communicate with your audience and your website. So what shifted for you?
I think the biggest shift for me, it's the trust. It's really trusting that I can do this, that I have intuitive abilities. Because prior to doing your course, I was experiencing times of inner sight, seeing into the body, receiving visions, and but it was still very. It felt like there was no control around, or I didn't understand really what was my ego, what parts I was still projecting, and what was actually coming through from creator, from source. And working with you, and really being in this container with the other members of the group and witnessing their journeys has been particularly powerful for me, and it's helped me to feel much more trusting in my abilities and gain an insight into how to discern better as to what's mine and what is not, is coming through in a more pure way. There's been so many breakthroughs, and I think that bringing that trust that I now have in myself is, and my ability to be that channel is being conveyed in how I work with other people now. So I'm finding that working with other people, I'm far less afraid of getting it wrong and far more trusting of the people that I'm working with to actually take what they need from the healing in a co-collaborative sense. So much more trust in the process, much more trust in my abilities and in my clients' ability to open, to receive. Yeah, but there's been so many breakthroughs, but I think that has been really quite pivotal for me, and really on a more personal level, in terms of the healing and learning through the process, the understanding that I can choose now. I get to choose what kind of healing practice I want to create. I don't need to any longer accept what doesn't feel aligned for me. And I can trust fully that if I want my healing practice to look a certain way and to have certain kind of clients, that is a choice that I get to make. I don't have to compromise myself anymore. And that was quite a big one for me. This sort of sense of not knowing how to protect myself, allowing myself to be placed in situations that left me perhaps more vulnerable than I needed to be, and ended up giving too much. It was a kind of a lack mentality, like, well, this is all I can have. So that was a major breakthrough for me, and I think that's opened the doors to me attracting clients that are very different to before, but actually much more aligned with that, much more able to meet me. And that then the medicine becomes so much more potent, so much stronger. So yeah, I can choose now. And honestly, Sky, I can't thank you enough for that, because that's shifted things in all areas of my life.
That self-protection thing is a bitch.
Yes. Yeah, and I couldn't fully see it. I knew before starting the course, I knew there were issues there for me, but I just couldn't see them. And what I love about the way you teach, and you're so beautiful and you're so compassionate, and at the same time you have this like fierce mother love you bring through, and so the truth that you give to us, and it's packaged in the most beautifully compassionate container. It packs a punch, and it hits, but it hits it because of the love that comes with it. It makes it palatable. It makes it possible for me, it made it possible for me to actually do the work of looking. And it was quite painful at times to work through some of that stuff, because it probably something I already knew, but the realization and then finding the root cause of why I wasn't protecting myself has been such an immensely powerful realization, that it's cleared and it's shifted everything. And what life is showing me that it's cleared, because what I'm manifesting now is coming through it feels very healthy for the first time. Relationships, love, where I am, what's the clients, it's happy dance.
Mini dance is celebration of you. This is so awesome.
Thank you. No, thank you. Yeah, it's been huge, and I'm still, there's a lot for me to still work through, and but I'm doing it, and I'm determined to do it, and I'm not done yet, and I'm still, sometimes, and again, it's trusting the process and the timing. I think there's part of my ego that's been, I had so much going on when I started this course with you, Sky.
I just believe it.
Just jumped out of, just jumped into selling my house and deciding to leave the country and go on this crazy fun adventure with my boys that I hadn't realized was going to be so transformational and actually so powerful. But the miracles have just kept coming, because what we've been working on in the course, life has suddenly started mirroring those things to me and bringing me opportunities in this completely new land of Egypt that I find myself in, trying to navigate a new country, a new culture, and then all this new realizations about myself in the process. But life and circumstances have been miraculously meeting me in those spaces, in those themes, and giving me opportunities to really see if I've worked through those things, and I have, and I am, and I'm continuing to do so. So I think I expected that I'd be able to kind of work through the course at a faster pace. Yeah, but at a certain point, I've kind of surrendered to the trust in the process, and trust that being able to see that life is meeting me in all of these ways alongside the course, that actually the timing is okay, and I'm going to complete everything I need to complete, and my own healing will continue. And I've just now got so many more tools to use to help me in that process. Yeah, so it's been a beautiful whirlwind.
It's been incredible, and it's been hard work.
Yeah.
But I think when it comes to working with people who are either mentally ill or emotionally ill on their deepest traumas, it's where they are the most selfish, even on an unconscious level. Yeah. And we get given this pink paint over shit scenario where the client is perfect, and then we're thrown into the lion's den, where that's not how it is. Yeah. It's the real world, and they are hurt, and it's no different than going up to a wounded animal. You have to approach it with boundaries. You have to be cautious, and you have to protect yourself.
Yeah.
But it's not easy, and it's very funny because we always think everyone else is like that. And when we get, like I said, when we get to those places where we are like that, it's a very emotional place.
It is, absolutely, and it's super important, if really to do. I feel like now I can do this work to a much deeper level, because knowing the boundaries that I can now put in place for myself is just so super important, because I'd get burnt out quite easily doing the healing work before. I'd have, it felt very much like in some ways I was taking on a lot of the energetic issues and mental issues of the other person, because it was just sort of, I was absorbing it. Yeah. And just, it sometimes was very difficult, and it limited me in terms of how much energy I had, how many clients I could see in a day. And then it kind of felt really sort of, well, how am I going to function in this? How can I do this work? So it actually almost made me want to just drop it all and find something else to do, because I'm clearly, my mind at the time, not capable of bringing the level of energy required through to do this work in a way that's safe for me to do it, that still enables me to be an awesome mum to my boys, and and just continue to. It was a struggle, but I'm understanding now the boundaries, and I'm understanding how to protect myself in that way, and it's I'm feeling more vibrant and more full of life than ever before, honestly. The physical healing for me has been quite interesting. There's the weight release has been also happening. And I think there's so much of the weight gain for me was very much wrapped up in this particular theme around protecting myself, and and it started to release now beautifully, and I'm not really doing it. I mean, we're fasting right now. We're joining sisters here in Egypt, and we're fasting in support of them for health benefit. And my kids are doing it, and this is, we've manifested the circumstances in which this has made it easier for us to do, and to bring some mindfulness into not just emotional eating. In fact, my son said to the first day of fasting, and at the end, he's 10, and nobody's for me. He just wanted to do this and try. So I'll support him in that. And he said at the end of the first day that he realised how much because he's usually I want to eat every 10 minutes kind of day, like a day kind of boy. But he realised that actually it's the sensation that he wants, and it's not that he's hungry. And that is a huge realisation for anyone.
A 10-year-old.
Let alone
Wow.
a 10-year-old. Yeah. So the lessons and the things that we've been learning are projecting out from me to those around us, but in a really powerful way. And it feels like it's not even something that I'm doing or making happen. It's the miracles. It's that shift in energy and how that ripples out, which again links back into a woman well loved and cared for, the one that knows how to love and care for herself. It becomes this overflowing cup of feminine essence that everybody else drinks from. It's really, it's a beautiful thing.
It's incredible, and you are really, really, really incredible. You're kind of making me all get all choked up.
Oh, Sky. Thank you.
It's such a challenge to become who we are with everything that life throws at us, and especially seeing your worthiness increase, seeing you open up to passive income with these amazing products that are going to help so many women.
Yeah.
Seeing you step into this fierce mama energy that you already had, but you were like, how do I do this and not get totally drained?
Yeah.
It's so beautiful.
Thank you, Sky. And I'm really grateful for your support and the support of everybody else in the group as well. There's some beautiful souls in there, and when I've felt like lost, or like I'm losing my way, or I'm failing, or I've just always been met by the others and your team and you with just this love that says it's okay, keep going, you're where you're meant to be, you're working, you're doing it, and that's been so valuable for me. It's really given me strength.
I am so blessed with my team, and I'm so blessed with the community. And there were some people, because like when you start working with other business owners, and we had a marketing team, etc., and the whole point of business in their brain is to hit a certain bottom line. And I was interviewing, I think I interviewed almost 40 people myself. And there was a point where I was like, nope. And they were like, why not? And I'm like, because these people are going to be holding the most vulnerable people in humanity. And you have to have a certain amount of love and compassion to be able to do that.
Yeah, I think so too. I think those are really key components to the work that we do. And I think that
community was, like you said, it's a protection thing. I really wanted to protect you guys from this idea of people just coming in to get their healings, or get something free, when what you were giving was so valuable.
And that's shifted massively in me as well. I've always done a lot of free healings, always, because the healings have always given me so much as well as sometimes feeling a bit depleted, but also there's always been so much learning. Every single healing that you do, you learn so much each time, that it's a gift for me as well to work with people in that way. It really does feel like a co-creation. But I had a massive block around the idea of making, or being able to make, not that I didn't want to make money. I would definitely charge sometimes for the services, but perhaps really didn't understand the true value of what I was able to provide for other people, and that it's okay for me to expect to sustain myself doing this work, because this is my purpose. This is not a hobby. This isn't something I want to do on the side. It's not, I want this to be my life's work. So therefore that has to sustain not only me, but my children, and in all ways, financially, in emotionally, in every single way. So again, breaking through those limiting ideas and beliefs around that has been a really, really key part of the training with you for me. That's massively altered how I view what I can expect in return for this work.
Well, you do such incredible work, and I know you work with children. I know you work with women who are terminally ill. You've been on my radar for a long time in the background.
Yeah.
And to hear you say that is it's such a relief, because you give so much and you need to do this work. So whenever it's like you said, I've been there so many times, exactly like what you said. I remember starting like doing a £5 for a reading, and I had no concept, I had no understanding about money, and I also had no understanding about financial abuse and how much I had lived and grown up with that idea, And there's so much financial abuse as a cause of disease, which I think is why so many men have heart attacks, because the pressure of financially providing is so huge for both men and women. And it's so unvalued, unnoticed.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. Yeah, and I think I've been through quite a lot of that myself in feeling that I'm solely responsible for. I mean, I'm lucky. I do have an amazingly supportive family, but as a 43-year-old woman, nearly 44, I really don't want to be dependent on parental support. So for me, the recent selling of the house and kind of taking some of that and investing in myself and in the boys, it's the beginning of that shift for me, where it's I'm able to take much more responsibility for that and not fear stepping into being able to earn money doing what I do, that it's okay to do that, so it's really shifted for me. And I definitely had some health issues relating, I think, to financial stress, and for sure that seemed to be just naturally alleviating now. They're just sort of gently dissolving from my body, and I just feel lighter. I feel like there's a relationship with money that I have now that's much more clear, much more pure, and it's been a conversation. So again, understanding through working with the course that you can bring the truth of consciousness into every aspect of your life, that it's not compartmentalized, it's embodied, and that includes everything that manifests in the physical world, and money is part of that. So building that relationship with money and that communication with money, it's actually quite an interesting conversation to begin to have. And so it's changing. It's definitely changing and shifting for me. And I think that I would very much like to help other people move through some of those financial related illnesses. Yeah, absolutely. I see it a lot. I see a lot of the disease that's caused as a result of feeling that way, that needing to support everybody.
So many sexual relationships, so many, like hidden homelessness is caused by feeling like you can't provide, so you have to stay. You can't go home to a domestic violence household, so you have to find a guy to go home with. There's so much hidden, hurt that comes from, lack of financial empowerment.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think for me, it was sort of really messy when it came to relationships and that side of things, because it definitely has been a major theme in the relationships that I've had, that there hasn't been the financial support, and yet still feeling like, well, I still need this person, because it's some support, and compromising on that. So to become an empowered woman with her own ability, financial, to bring in the financial security, again, opens up this knowing of me that I can choose. And you really helped me with that. Like when you said to me at one point that you get to choose a partner based not just on, how good they are in the bedroom, quite frankly, but you get to choose a partner based on how well they can help you create a home, and how capable they are also of attracting money into their world. It really shifted everything for me. It really did. It's like, oh yeah, of course I can. But I couldn't see that before, because it was too clouded with all of these weird ideas that I
I
developed.
know it's such a strong message that women that choose men with financial consideration are gold diggers and they don't really love their partner. And it starts so young, it's only about true love. And it's like, yes, but money is love. There is no.
That's the change, because before I had the mantra of money is evil, because I'd been, that's the message that society and those around me had been giving me. And so, yes, consider yourself to be spiritually developed and working in healing modalities, equated somehow to shunning some, it's all about love. But then, yes, the recognition that money is love too. It's not separate. Nothing's separate. Everything is love, actually. It's always
You
how we
brought up something that I've been working through as well. So let me see if we came to similar conclusions. Because one of the patterns I worked through in this course so much was I have to take what's available. I can't go for the best. I have to, just take whatever's there. I can't. And for me, so much of the route around that was, like wanting validation from people that were never going to validate me.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, completely agree with you.
Okay.
That's been really, really strong for me. Yeah, feeling like I have to take what's there because that's maybe all I can get, and to be grateful for what you have. And,
Yeah.
When actually we can make different decisions for ourselves. I don't need that validation from others. That doesn't, it's gone. That feeling of needing to be validated by somebody else isn't present anymore. And it's just a very empowering place to land after so much of the opposite. And now, and it really did release very quickly, working through with miracles over medicine technique.
I worked on it for 2 or 3 months, and I kept. It was so funny because I kept getting to that point where I said about like I couldn't wrap my head around validation being such an important thing, and it shifted so much. Even like these interviews are a result of that shift, because every time, and I did incredible things, like I wrote books and things when I was much younger that just sat on the laptop that I never published, I never shared. I would finish things and not, celebrate with anybody. And it was such a big thing to celebrate visibly, to allow
Yeah.
the receiving of that, because I had to grieve never having had that.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. And I think that's what it's about, receiving. It's about being able to open up to receiving this. And I think that's really become a big thing now for me. I feel so able to receive, and it's actually insane. Like, people here will, like, if you asked some friends here, they've all been recently pointing out how much is coming into me, like whether it's men trying to throw themselves at me, or like, and that's happening quite often. And but I get to choose now. It's like, I don't have to say yes to you just because you're there. I can choose. I can choose. But it's I feel very open to receiving. So anytime that validation comes, it's kind of not coming from a place of neediness now. It's sort of like it's just being gifted to me, and I'm receiving it as a gift, as opposed to something that's needed in order for me to continue and to feel good about myself, because I feel good about myself anyway. The love's here,
Yeah, it's that energy of you can give yourself everything you've been looking for.
Yes, absolutely. And
So
I feel very confident in that
last
now.
question, my darling. What would you say to someone else who is super busy, right? And has kids, because we're both moms, and is thinking, how the hell am I going to do this?
I would say, just please don't worry about that, because this was definitely a consideration for me. But in the actual practice, and I underestimated actually how much I had going on. It was only in the practice of it that I realized, oh my gosh, how am I supposed to meet the needs of the course, my needs, and the needs of these two beautifully crazy kids of mine? How? But the course, especially the initial parts of the course, really work, and doing, listening to your meditation recordings that really imprint into us the trust, and how we can trust life to guide us in the right way. It really is an exercise in trust. You have to take that leap of faith and trust that you will be held and supported by source and those that source is channeling through in order for you to reach where you need to reach. And it just flows. And that, you know, you work when then you go through those motions, feeling the kind of the ego screaming at you, you're not good enough, you're failing, you haven't got enough time, why did you think you could do this, or what were you thinking? But these are the things that we're then addressing in the course. It's part of what we're doing this for, and it's all honing us and tuning us and deepening our abilities as healers to work with other people. So it really I would say just trust the process, trust it. If you feel like you want to do it, take the leap of faith. You will be held, the ground will appear underneath you. You're not going to fall, and you will not fail, and you can do it. It really is possible.
Thank you so much, Louisa. And congratulations on graduating.
Thank you so much.
You graduated today.
Thank you.
Take care.
Love you loads.